Alright YouTube, this is a JavaScript project. This is the third JavaScript project. You can find the source code in the description. Let's see what we have in this project. This is a to-do list. If you click on exercise, let's enter some of the list which we are going to do today. I would be doing working, eating and exercising and reading. And let's say we need to add some YouTube videos as well. Plus if you click on plus, it will get appended. Now some of the tasks are done. If some of the tasks are done, we can see check. We will click on check. Now you can see if you select completed, only the completed task shows up. If you select uncompleted, only the uncompleted task shows up. If you select all, you can see all the task. Now let's remove all the CSS, JavaScript and jQuery and start from scratch. Don't worry about the description, source code. You will get the source code in the description. Fine. Now the very first thing what we are going to do is we are going to create a container which will hold the input field and the button, and each input and button will have a class so that we can call them using the query selector in the jQuery. And this container will also have the select, and here the select will have three values. As you saw, the first one is all, the second one is completed, and the third one is uncompleted. And it will be in the value. The value we will fetch using the jQuery. Value attribute is really important for option tag, because by the value we would be fetching data. Fine. Now let's add a container which will hold all the to-do list. Let's give the class to-do list. Fine. Now here the dynamic data would be filled. So we would be dynamically adding list item, and this list item will have text, two buttons. These two buttons, the first one is delete and the second one is checked. I'm just showing you the static way. We would be doing this dynamically. Let's give the name as checked and give the class name as checked. Fine. This is the static one. If you click on plus, we will be creating dynamically. So for that, the very first thing what we need to do is, let's get all the classes. We need to give class to select as well. Now we will access them using the query selector. Once the page loads, we want a function to get executed, and this function will hold all the variable, and this variable are simply the elements. Fine. And we have saved all the elements to a variable when the document loads. Now we have initialized it. Now it's time to add listener to the button. When we click on the button, this is the plus button. Once we click, I want the function to get executed, and this function will dynamically append list item and the two buttons inside them. So for that, to create a list item, or you can say li document.create element li, and store it into a variable so that we can add classes to it. You use the variable and add a class. We are going to add class list dot class list dot add as a function. We will be passing the class name here our class name is simply list. Fine. Now you can say there is hey over there. this hey is simply the value which we get from the input field. Fine. Now we have created the list item and the text. Now it's time to append them to the container. Here the container is ul dot append child. Inside the append child you will be passing the variable for the li. It's a variable, you should not pass, it won't show up, you should not pass as a string. Remove the single quotes, it's a variable. Fine, now let's check. Yeah, it is getting added. We don't want, let's see. Now we are going to add delete button. The same way in the current document, create element called button, store it into a variable, and this, with the help of the variable, add the class to it and the text to show. So choose a container. Here the container is li for the button. You can see the delete has shown up. Now it's time for the check button. The same process we are going to continue again. Just rename the variable so that it won't get mixed up. Create element button and have the text called check to it and append it to the list item, which is li. Fine. Now we forgot to add classes to it. Let's give the class delete so we can add a listener to it later. Here it's checked. If you type something, you can see. Now the classes is also appended for the buttons. Let's change the static data to the dynamic value. Access the variable name of the input field. Dot value is the property. With the help of it, you can see what I have typed in as shown in the list. Let's add some space to it so that we can get some space between the text and the button. Yeah, it's showing up. Now let's remove the static text. Don't add space in between or else you will get unwanted error. Let's type some task. Click on plus. You can see the button and the delete and buttons and the text has shown up. Now it's time to check the task. For that, choose a parent. Here the parent which holds the list item and the buttons are ul. This ul we are going to add a listener to it. Once we click on the ul, we need to know where it is clicked. To know, we would be passing e to it. E.target will let you know where it is clicked. To get the class list of the element, we can give the e.target.classList. If you console it, you will see once I click on ul, you will get to know where I have clicked. The class will show up. Type something. If you click on delete, you can see delete class shown up. If you click on check, the checked class has shown up. Fine. Now we know where we have clicked. So with the help of if else, if the class is checked, then it's checked. If the class is checked, then what you have to do is you have to add a style to it. This style is very simple. Just strike out. Let's add a class to it. So create a class. Here it's completed text decoration line through. We are going to add completed class to the element. Here the element is simply the button. We need to get the whole li. To get the whole li, we would be using parent element. Fine. Store it into a variable and li, we are going to add style to it. It will not work. We need to give class list dot add. It will not show up. Yeah, it says there is an error. We need to add class list. Fine. Now if you type something, a task, click on plus. If you click checked, again it's not working. Let's check why. It hasn't saved. Yeah, right now it's saved. If you click plus, if you click on checked, you can see the strike mark. Fine. Now it's time for the delete function. If the same way, we are going to add class. If the class is delete, then simply remove the parent. Here the parent is li. Yeah, it's done. Now we are going to add a listener to the select. So if we click on the select, what we are going to do is we will be running for each loop. Before that, we would be knowing we are not using switch, we are not using if else here. We know there is only three values, all completed and uncompleted. We will be using switch case here. Along with switch case, what we have to do is we have to run a for each loop which will get all the values from the container. Let's see how it's done. Get the list, get all the values from the ul. So this is the ul. Run a for each, and what we are going to do is get all the child with the help of parent child nodes, which will give all the child. Let me show you in the console. You will get all the child as an object. Let's type something. You can see you're getting it with the you are getting it as an object. To access all the object, since we can have many items in the list, to access them one by one, we would be using for each loop. That's what I'm saying. Run a for each loop on the list item. And this variable will hold all the object. Run a for each loop one by one parameter we would be getting. to to access them, you can see now switch, we will be using switch case. If the class list is completed, then what we have to do is, this doesn't work by like way, it will work on case. We need the values. If the case is completed, then show all the element in the ul with class completed. Once it finds the list with class completed, it will show display block, or else it will show display none. Type some of the task. Let's check some of the list item. Now you can see there is an error. Let's see what it is. For each is not a function because we have missed the spelling. E is capital. We have to create again. The same way, do the case for delete, and all. The uncompleted is simply the opposite of completed. So let's check again. So with the help of switch case, what we are doing is type some of the task, and if you click on if you clicked on checked, the li will have checked. So once you click on select a drop down, if you click on completed, it will show all the list item with class completed. If you click uncompleted, it will show all the item without class completed. And if you click on all the list item will show up. You'll get the source code in the description. Thank you so much for listening.